behind never-ending windows. All you need is a door. Searching for something to put a smile back on your face. Just remember, in unusual times, it can come from an unusual place. You need a partner for the ride, 'cause everybody needs a Clyde. So set your worries to the side. Just ask, say the word and I'll be there. Just ask, you know the greatest things in life all come in a pair. They say hindsight's 20/20, but that ain't far enough behind me. So if you want the sweetest honey, I think hindsight's 1990. There's no need to pretend I got a hand I can lend, 'cause when you really need a friend, just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.
Welcome back to Shit 90 Shows Taught Me. I'm Jess Sterling here with my co-host, Sara Fergenson. Sarah, how are you?
Jess, I am doing really well. I have a question for you, though, today.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're friends, or do you think that we're frenemies?
I don't think we're frenemies.
You don't think so?
I don't have frenemies. I have friends and I have enemies. I don't think I could do the frenemy thing.
Now, I can detect a frenemy from a mile away. Felicity and Julia are officially frenemies.
Isn't it Julie?
Who fucking cares? But I will say that they are. I think that this show invented the concept of frenemies, because
wait a minute. We need to look up Felicity. What year did Felicity? No, I know it's Julie. So okay. Felicity started in 1998.
Yeah,
because I would say that I think Jen and Joey.
Oh, they were.
But Dawson's Creek also started in 98. So maybe I don't know who started first.
Who knows? But they're frenemies. Now we have a guest today. I'm so excited. Our first guest for Felicity.
Yes.
I don't think she's our frenemy. I think she's our friend.
No, absolutely. There is 0% chance this person is our frenemy. One, because again, I don't think I would invite a frenemy on the podcast, but also because she's so we have. We're not here to spill the tea today. But she is like one of the most supportive people, and just like one of the honest to God, Sarah, you always yell at me for not getting kind and nice, right? One of the kindest people I think we know. We've brought on Lindy today. Hi, Lindy. How are you?
Hi, I'm wonderful. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy that you're here. Okay. Actually, Lindy, I have a question for you since you're on the podcast.
Yes. What is it?
Okay. You know the meme, like, oh, every two friends has a golden retriever friend and a black cat friend?
No.
Okay. Well, this is really taken off. Okay. So the thing is that like every two friends, every friend group has a black cat friend who is like represents a black cat, and then a golden retriever friend.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Do you understand? Like,
yes, I understand.
Yeah. I need you to tell us between Felicity and Julie, who's the black cat and who's the golden retriever. But actually, I really want to know between Jess and I, who's the black cat and the golden retriever.
I was gonna say, I feel like I know the answer for you and Jess, but not for Felicity and Julie.
Okay.
I would say for Sarah and Jess, Sarah is the black cat and Jess is the golden retriever.
Yeah, I think this tracks.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a controversial take.
No.
Happily accept my title.
Even though I have the lighter hair, I still do think that I'm the black cat.
Yeah, because
it's about attitude.
It's about attitude. And Sarah, you're the one who's like, sometimes I listen to depressing music because I want to cry. And I'm the one who's just the most loud, obnoxious person. Who's,
you know what the most black cat thing that I've ever done before?
Do you knock things off the counter on purpose?
Almost, but yeah, I have done that before. There is this period of time where every time my friend Chrissy would have a birthday cake, I would secretly blow out her candles before her.
You're a monster. You are a monster. Lindy looks like she just became your frenemy.
Oh, well, if you did that to me, we'd be frenemies for sure.
Yeah, that's awful. What a terrible thing to do.
She wasn't that happy, but I thought it was funny.
Of course she wasn't happy. And I do think though, like if I had to choose for Julie and Felicity, honestly, Felicity gives me golden retriever vibes, but in a different way. And the different way is that golden retrievers are notoriously like Velcro dogs. They follow you into every room.
Yeah.
They follow you everywhere you go. They constantly, like when you walk them, they're constantly looking back to make sure you're still following them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but she literally crossed the country to stalk Ben. Like Felicity is the golden retriever, but in the negative quality.
Yeah, I can see that. Lindy, I'm so curious. Have you ever watched the show Felicity before?
Well, so here's what happened. 2 years ago, you two covered the pilot of Felicity, and that's the first time I ever watched Felicity. I watched the pilot so I could listen to your recap of it, and then I kept going. I watched the whole first season and then a few episodes of season 2. And then I kind of slowed down, and then I was like, I'll just wait until Jess and Sarah start covering this, and then I'll pick it back up. So I've only seen 1 season and a few episodes. So I have no idea how it ends. So no big spoilers here. So this is technically my second time watching season 1, but after that, it'll be new to me.
Do you like it?
Do I like it? I think it's fun. I think I like that it's, set in college. But there are, I don't know. It's hard to say. I think it's not as like exciting as some other kind of teen drama shows. I think it's like a lot more slowed down with the vibes. It just feels like a slower show, which is not necessarily bad, but it's not as like, oh, all this stuff is happening. It's like
I could see
throwing a
that.
party,
It does
like
feel like a vibey show, right? Like even the theme song, which is like,
oh my gosh.
It's like it's really dull.
I do not like the theme song. It's
Oh,
way
it's-
too moody. It's
really
what
moody.
are they doing?
Awful.
And Sarah, I will say this week is the first week that I don't know if you incepted it into my brain, but this was the first episode that I watched and I was like, oh my God, it really does look like it was filmed on a potato.
The quality of this show is so offensive.
It's really not good. Like you can't even see the details on Scott Foley's face. It's like his attraction isn't even translating as well. Because
the Vaseline that they put over the camera
they
lens.
just smeared that shit on there. Yeah,
terrible.
It's really bad.
Yeah. Now, this show is a fucking shit show, and I do think that it's fun to talk about. But like, I hate Felicity with a burning passion, and she's a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, let's talk about the episode because we start off with like Felicitying, right? Like, I don't know if this is going to be an every episode thing, but we start off with her doing like a little message to her friend,
her ghost
friend Sally. And she's like, you know what, Sally? I'm probably making too big of a deal of this. And I was like, yes, I know you most assuredly are. I don't even know what you're about to say, but I know you're making too big of a deal of it.
You think?
And it's her first official college party ever.
Wow, everybody remembers their first official college party ever.
I have to say, she's making way too big a deal of this. Who cares? Yeah. It's a party. I will say, in the end, she will remember this forever, but not for the reasons she wants to.
Exactly.
Fair, yeah.
She prophesized it, but in a terrible way. I want to say, like, I do not remember my first college party. I'm trying to remember. I think I went to my first year of school was 2008. And like the one thing that I do remember is when Obama was elected and like how ragey it was when during election day. That was exciting. But in terms of like a full No, that was 2007, by the way. But whatever, who cares? Math. It was a full rager. But I don't remember my first college party. I remember my first frat party. That was fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she's just like, I think she's been so sheltered. I feel like this is why she's making a bigger deal of this. And then we flash to like, it's basically the entire dorms like party they're throwing together. And so like Noel is in charge of like making sure it goes okay. And we get this one guy who will not stop talking about having a band. And I'm like, this is a dorm, my guy. Like, I just don't think that is a realistic expectation. I don't know why you can't just put some speakers out, but this guy would not shut up about the freaking band. And Lindy, we have this one really strange blonde girl in the corner, and she's just like, nah, I got it. And she's like chewing on a straw, and she's just like, nah, I got the whole thing. I got the whole party. We're good.
This whole thing is so weird. Like, why everything about this party? First of all, why does Noel need to contact the AV department for this party? That's so nerdy. And
So
why is this
nerdy.
girl like, I'll take care of everything? Like, it's just a party. What do you need that you can't procure yourself? Like, just get some drinks and
Yeah.
that's all you need.
Now, okay, so I just want to full out say, like, this girl is part of the Russian mafia, right?
1,000%, because she's like, oh, my cousins. And then she starts talking about how her cousins would like kill for her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there could not be lower stakes than a college dorm party. And I
Yeah.
don't understand why the mafia has to get involved.
They were fully involved in this party, fully involved. And it is a big conundrum. And also, like, you don't want to party with your RA. The RA is a professional narc.
They're the one who's supposed to be ratting out the party. So I didn't understand, like, I guess this party was like sanctioned by the school. Like they were like allowed to do it. But I always thought it was like, oh no, this is like a secret party and you're supposed to be hiding it from the RAs because we're going to be drinking.
Exactly. It makes no sense because I'm telling you, RAs get paid in room and board to tell on you. So they are the last person to be invited to a party. Oh. Okay. One time my roommate threw a party in our dorm room. And it was during, I forget, like Labor Day weekend or something like that. Maybe not. I don't know. One of the President's Days, one of those little Monday holidays.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend at the time was like, Sara, you should not be in the dorm room during this party. This is a terrible idea. And I was like, you're fucking stupid. I want to be in this party. Like, I want to go. It's going to be fine. But then he like convinced me not to go. And then my roommate got caught and got like suspended for like a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So, that was a good call.
I guess so.
Yeah.
So Felicity, meanwhile, needs to talk to Julie because she's like, I went to your room last night. You weren't there. What were you doing? And I'm like, Felicity, stop going down Julie's throat. Let her live. But she says she was at Lucky Strike. And I'm like, what, Lindy, is this a bowling alley? What is Lucky Strike?
It must be. Or is it that bar that they went to before to study? I don't know.
Yeah, it just sounds like bowling. But she's like, Julie's getting a little squiggly, Sarah. She's like, oh, because again, Felicity, I'm like, you just met Julie, and I feel like you are just suffocating her with your This is what I hate the most, is when someone just pesters you with question after question after question after question. And Felicity's like, oh, you went there? With who? With who, Julie? She's like, this like girl Astrid that like it wasn't special.
But it was special because apparently this is the party that you need to go to. Everybody who's anybody was at this event except for Felicity. She didn't get invited. And I think it's because she's a loser. And now everybody else on the floor and in the school knows she's a loser. So she's not even getting
heard that she stalked this guy to school because she literally has no problem telling anybody that.
So yeah, she literally did not get invited to a very, very public outing, which is so
well, this is where I have the questions, Lindy, though, right?
Because wait, I thought you said questions were annoying.
Okay, but only if you ask like 20 of them right in a row, like Felicity does.
Sure.
So, Lindy, my question is, so we know that Julie and Astrid were there, and we know that Ben was there too. So my question is, did Julie like know Ben was going to be there and then on purpose not invite Felicity? Or was it kind of just like Julie got invited by Astrid. She didn't get the vibe that she could invite other people, and she shows up and Ben just happens to be there.
I think Julie's just living her life, and it doesn't revolve around Felicity, and it shouldn't. Like, she
I
should
love
not
this.
have
True.
to like base all of her social interactions on what Felicity is gonna think. I had this same thought throughout the episode. I was like, you just met. You don't have to be like best friends or pretend to be. Like, who cares? If you met the first week of college and you became friends and then it just kind of got weird the second week or whatever, like, that's okay. Just give it up. It's okay.
I totally agree with you. You don't have to stay friends with the very first person that you meet. If you don't vibe, you don't vibe. Stop talking to each other. Julie has Felicity has no ownership over Ben. So that means that Julie can fuck Ben all day, all night. That's totally fine.
Well, okay, but then I feel like I agree with all of that, right? I agree with Julie should just live her life. Not everything revolves around Felicity. However, then we get like Felicity trying to go the extra mile because I think Felicity likes Julie more than Julie likes Felicity. And so Felicity is like, listen, I want to invite Ben to our dorm party. Like, is that going to be a problem? And she's like, no, of course not. We were a 24-hour virus. Like, it's totally fine. And I'm just like,
Wait,
okay.
Hold on. Can you repeat that? Felicity likes Julie more than Julie likes Felicity?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
I think she's a little obsessive. I think it's because she's like away from home for the first time. She's never had any friends. At least that's what it seems like. And then she sees Julie.
First friend. The first person who was like, are you okay? Felicity was like, oh my gosh.
Besties.
I have to do everything it takes to stay friends with her.
Oh my God, this is it, right? This is it. This is what the issue is.
That's exactly what it is.
Julie was just literally just being a nice person and was like, yo, are you okay? And then like a leech, Felicity has dug her claws into her. And now Julie has found herself in a love triangle. And all she wanted to do was ask this girl if she was going to like jump off the river the other day and get some D. Like, that's the only thing that she wanted. And now she's stuck in a love triangle that she can't get rid of with a psycho girl.
Yeah. But she says, like, no, it's no big deal. Like, feel free to invite Ben. Probably because in the back of her mind, she's like, Ben does not like Felicity, so I'm not worried. But she doesn't say that out loud.
Not competition.
No. And then we're back to Felicity on her little tape recorder, and she's just like, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
because I rewatched this episode today, and I was like, oh my God, Felicity. Like, she reminds me of what it was like to be a girl in like middle school or high school, like not college, where she's just like, here's the situation. Here's the scenario. Here's what could happen. Ben shows up. We see each other from across the room. He comes over. We talk about like class, or I don't know. He likes how I look. I like how he looks. And, you know, we appreciate how each other looks. And then she's crazy because then she says, and then we dance. And we dance for hours. And we're exhausted. And we're sweaty. And we're ready to pass out. But the party's on my floor. So I say, and this is my favorite part. She says, so I say, you want to go to my room? Or wait. Sorry. You want to go to my room? And
she's deranged, right? Like, she's absolutely deranged.
Okay, but the funniest part is right after she says that, she's like, and then we sit on my bed and talk
about everything.
Everything.
And she's not even him. You're not gonna make out with him. She literally doesn't even say that.
It's not even like, yeah, we make out or we sleep together. It's like, we sit on my bed and we talk. Like,
because we all think, oh, we're going back to my room, like shit's going down, pants are being flown out the window. No, none of that. We sit down and we talk.
Her sexy fantasy is not even sexy.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Felicity.
I can't stand this idiot.
My favorite little bit from that hasn't even come up yet, so we'll get there because I feel like we hit a point in this episode, Lindy, I'm so happy you're here for this episode, because I feel like we hit a point in this episode where it is going to be something, we have like bits in Dawson's Creek, like I'm a teenager, you know what I mean? Like we had those bits. There is a specific line in this episode that I'm like, I will never forget this.
I
So
can't
good.
wait. I can't wait. That's why I'm
Ugh,
here. That's why I picked this episode, because
it's so
of
bad.
Felicity's tape and the party situation.
It's so cringe.
I remembered this 2 years later. I was like, oh yeah, that's the episode. That's the moment I need to talk about.
So she's like, well, I missed my first opportunity to ask him. So they're like talking about their classes. Apparently, Ben needed to have some kind of English class or a language class. And instead of getting Russian, which is what he wanted, which again, is he going into that like Russian mafia situation?
Probably.
He got drama class and he's like very upset about it. But Felicity, on the other hand, Sarah, got into inorganic chemistry and she's like geeking out because the professor is the same one who wrote chemistry books she used in high school.
She's a fucking loser. What can I say? Yeah. Okay, number one, Ben is a moron as well, because who is going to be upset that they got drama over Russian?
Also,
Not
isn't this like
even-
just a requirement? Like a, do you know what I mean?
It was
Because he needs a language class.
No, he needed He needed a communications elective.
Okay, but so I'm saying it's an elective, which usually this sort of like, this is usually like a 101 class. Like no one who's taking this class is like gonna go on to be an actor, So like just ride with it, my guy. Like
I know. I mean, seriously, I know that theater majors are intolerable. Like, I know I hated theater majors when I was in school because they were so annoying. So annoying. So annoying. I
were
know
you a
it.
theater major? You're confusing me now. Are you just
No, they're really
they're just
fucking
very-
annoying. That's what it is. Because
I hope Todd was never a theater major.
he's not a theater major. No, because this is the thing. Like, I was surrounded by a lot of theater majors because my first major was TV and film.
Yeah.
Theater majors aplenty. So annoying. And then my second major was an art major, so we're in the same building. They don't shut the fuck up. Never. Ever. They never shut up. They are fucking singing in the hallways on the top of their lungs. They never shut the fuck up. So I know that they're annoying. I get it. But it's an easy elective. And all you had to do was describe a sandwich, you fucking idiot. Not speak Russian. I know a few Russian words.
Do you?
Strasvuche.
What does that mean? Is that a swear word?
Hi.
Oh, that's a long word for hi.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And so they're having this whole conversation. And Lindy, he brings up, oh, you didn't go last night to Lucky Strike. There was like a whole thing. You should go next time. And if I'm Felicity, I'm like, that fucking bitch, Julie.
I mean, I don't even know. Felicity, is it entirely her fault that she cannot make friends and has never had a friend before? I don't know.
Okay. Now am I supposed to feel bad for her that she's never had a friend before?
Sarah, her only friend prior to meeting Julie was a tape recorder.
Oh no, it's so true though. It's so true though.
She doesn't even talk to Sally. She just sends her tapes. They don't even talk.
I know, it's so true. And Sally was a hired friend. Like, she wasn't even like a friend that you meet in the wilds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah. And so I truly think Julie is trying to like branch out, make a ton of friends in her freshman year, and Felicity is basically all in on Julie. But Felicity is kind of like, doesn't even take that into consideration because she's too hyper fixated on like getting Ben to this party. And she's just like, nope, sorry, I forgot. Like, I fucked up. I should have just said it, and I didn't.
Hot take. You don't have to invite Ben to a public party.
Just mention it.
You
Just be
have
like,
to-
there is a party in our dorm. You don't have
He
to
has
be
to
like,
know
I
about
think
it.
you should come. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm telling everybody, party in our dorm. Easy. But one of my favorite moments of this episode is the next scene that is so random and feels like they just shoved it in here because someone was obsessed with it. When there's this girl and she's just like LMNOP QRST, you don't hear it? And the girl's like, you think Q comes too early in the alphabet? She says, yeah, it should be at the end.
I've actively heard people talk about this before.
What, you have? Lindy, have
Yeah.
you heard anybody talk about this before?
You know, I've never heard anyone talk about this, but I have to say, I think I get what she was saying.
I
was on
agree.
board.
Because she
I
says
was like,
Q,
yeah, that
X,
makes
Y,
sense.
Z. And
That
she says,
sounds better.
yeah, she says if Q came after O, that would make sense because Q looks like O. But if you move it to the end, P would come after R, which would be so sexy.
I mean, you can't argue with that.
You really can't.
Why was this in the episode? Who knows? What
No
is
one
this show
knows.
doing? Why, like, this is the third episode. We've got this random
And
alphabet
I don't know who
thing.
this is either.
We've got the random Russian guys facilitating this party. Like, this show is called Felicity, and the theme song is like this moody black and white da-dee-da thing. Like, what is this show's identity? I don't get it.
It's as confused and lost as Felicity is, actually.
Truly.
I could not give a shit about this conversation even more than I actually don't give a shit. I don't care. Like,
Okay.
if somebody tried to have this conversation with me, I'd be like, cool. Yeah, I guess. Like, I could not initiate and start this conversation, have a conversation about it. I just don't care about the alphabet at all. I never think about the alphabet, actually.
So tell me, Sarah, how you feel about this next scene where
Yeah.
Felicity is obsessed with the professor and she immediately goes up to him and is like, listen, I don't have the book, but is that okay?
This was idiotic as well. Like, you don't have the book, then just don't say anything and shut your fucking mouth and sit in class. You think that these
Exactly.
idiots have the book? Probably half of them don't, because they don't want to spend $300 on a fucking book. But I'll
Also,
tell
if
you
you
what,
assign a book for class, make it gettable.
well, it is
Everyone else
probably
got
stupid.
it, apparently.
Yeah, everyone else. But
Apparently.
the thing
that's-
is that nobody else is going to raise their hand after this professor is reaming Felicity.
That's
true.
true. But I took it as everyone else has it and she's just incompetent. And I'm like, how did they all get it and you didn't? And you're obsessed with this man.
Yeah.
So clearly you tried. But so what? Why
They
couldn't you
registered.
find the book?
She's a late register, so she registered months after everybody else, right? Because she was supposed to go to Stanford,
Right.
and she tried. She went to Barnes and Noble. She went to the bookstore. She went to Ask Jeeves or whatever. Like, she went everywhere, and she couldn't get the book. It's nowhere to be found.
Yeah. So then this
But
this
then,
professor
Yeah.
also, I was not on Felicity's side because I thought this was stupid. Like, just keep your mouth shut and photocopy someone else's like she does later in the episode.
well, yeah,
But-
that's what was my thing. I was like, just go to the fucking library and photocopy the book, you dumb hoe.
Yeah, but the problem is then the professor gets me not on his side because he's a total fucking asshole where he's just like, listen, it's your responsibility to get
It
this
is.
book.
No, the thing is that she is now in college. This is not high school. This is not, let's hold your hand and sing kumbaya. You're supposed to be an adult now. You're responsible for your own homework. He, as a professor, doesn't give a shit if you don't go to class. He doesn't give a shit if you don't do the reading. He doesn't give a shit if you participate in class. It's her job to give a shit because she's a college student now and she's acting like a child. So yeah, he has every right to be like, I don't fucking care. Because this is college now, baby. This is NYU. You are in a prestigious university. I don't have time for you to be being a little pussy bitch. Do the reading and shut up.
Yeah. And this is where I feel like Ben now overreacts to this drama professor who, by the way, plays a notorious character in The Sopranos. And to see him pop up here, I was like, what the fuck are you doing on Felicity? But he's talking about how they're going to use an object to reveal something about themselves. And I was like, this seems like the absolute easiest assignment ever, Lindy. I really don't understand what Ben's problem is.
Yeah, I mean, he could have brought in something in between the sandwich and the keys that he eventually did that was
Yes.
had meaning but didn't make him bare his soul. as opposed to the sandwich that he made a joke of the assignment. It was really easy, honestly.
Yeah, I fully agree with this. I feel like he went all in on what the key is, and I was like, you could have just found a happy medium. Like, you're making a joke of the project by doing the sandwich. But he's like telling this professor, "Oh, I'm leaving this class anyway. Do you still want me to do the assignment?" And I'm like, "Sarah, are these college kids new? Like, just
I mean, yeah,
sit
They
there."
are actually.
they are.
It's like you're a freshman. Literally, just go to class,
Yeah.
do what you're told. If you're gonna change classes, just do it. You don't have to like have a whole discussion with the professor about it.
I agree. I
Do you
think Ben.
remember when Shea Coulee in RuPaul's Drag Race was like, "Why you all acting brand new?" Do you remember that?
Yes.
They're all acting brand new.
They are.
They are. They're just telling their professors too much information. Like, they don't care and they don't need to know that.
Exactly. So that's what Ben is up to. It's just like, what are we doing here? But he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna transfer, blah 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 blah." It's like, okay, great, happy for you. And then Felicity is again being a creepy stalker and just staring at Ben when he gets food in the cafeteria. It's like, calm yourself down. But she approaches him.
Hose her down, please.
Seriously, someone hose her down. Someone do it. But she brings up this dorm party and she's just like, "Oh, it's gonna be there at 8." I'm like spreading the word. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention we had the scene earlier where Sarah, it seems super obvious that Ben is super into Julie. But like, my question is for you, is it that Julie is uninterested in Ben? Or is she interested, but just like, I don't want to deal with the drama between Felicity and the triangle?
She is interested in Ben, but doesn't want to deal with the drama between Felicity and the triangle.
Yeah, I think so too. But he's like very much pursuing her. And she tells him about the party. And so then when Felicity tells him about the party, he's like, "Oh yeah, Julie told me."
To be fair to Julie, Ben asked her out for Friday night and she was like, "I can't. We're having a dorm party." It's not like she went out of her way to tell him. She had to turn him down, but gave him the reason why. So like, when Ben tells Felicity, of course Felicity's not going to know, "Oh, Julie didn't go out of her way to say this." To Felicity, it's like, "Oh, I told Julie not to, that
Yeah.
I wanted to invite Ben, and then she did it first. How could she?" But it wasn't like that.
Yeah. And Felicity, with her neuroses, again, like, can't help but bring this up to Julie. And my favorite, Sarah, is when she's like, "Well, I wasn't going to bring it up, but I guess I just did." It's like literally her life story.
Yeah, I mean, she can't not, right? Like, she's perpetually always just over talking. Yeah, I mean, once again, I don't really blame Julie because they were just chatting and it came up naturally. So, and also, you don't have to invite Ben to a public party. You don't have to invite Ben. Like, just bring him up. I don't know. So stupid.
And this is where Felicity is telling Julie, she's like, "I don't want us to resent each other." And I'm like, "Felicity, you're not an old married couple. Like, who cares? You don't have to be friends."
Yeah. Yep.
They are
Yep.
going to resent each other. Like, this is going to be war. And I'm kind of excited. Okay, hold on. Let's take sides. I mean, we're taking Julie's side, right?
I mean, obviously I'm on Julie's side right now. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like DBK is going to be very upset with this. I just don't understand why anyone would be on Felicity's side at the moment, because I
She's
feel like
pretty.
Felicity is just blowing this out of proportion.
That's why, because she's pretty. That's why people choose her side.
Okay.
That's it. I don't know.
So yeah, so again, Julie reiterates, like, "No, we're just friends. It's not a big deal." And Felicity's like, "Listen, it's you and me, babe. You and me to the end." And it's like,
No.
"Bro, you met like a week ago. It is not you and her till the end."
This is like on Survivor or Big Brother when you're like, "We're best friends forever."
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're just trapped in this house together.
Yeah. And then we get, like, why is the RA treated as like a therapist? Like, leave Noel alone.
I swear to God, I would do anything to not talk to my RA. Anything. Anything. But everybody's so, I mean, they're obsessed. And Noel loves it too. Like, he loves being in the middle of the shit. You know? It's not like he wants to be left alone. He just wants to be in the middle of the drama.
He just likes to know all the information, like, right? Like,
Mm.
he loves being the, like, cry on my shoulder guy. Like,
Yeah.
Lindy, this feels like exactly what Ben wants. He's like, oh, all these girls, I got one shoulder for you, Felicity. I got one shoulder for you, Julie. Let me help you with your problems. He loves this.
You mean Noel?
Oh, sorry, Noel. I didn't mean to say Ben. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
Noel.
Yeah, I think also like Noel is really interested in Julie's problems right now because they involve Felicity and he is obsessed with
Yes.
Felicity. Why? Question mark. I don't know. He met her and was like, she's beautiful. I love her forever. I don't know. Is that just the only reason
That's
he's
it.
into her?
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, this is like some sort of like weird kink, right? Like to have some like girl cry and you're obsessed with her.
Yeah.
That's what it is. This is why, Jess, remember the whole like, oh, Adam, you should go find somebody, a girl that's like crying on the airplane.
Yes.
And we were like, Jessica, that's like predatory. That's
Yes.
why. Like, it's like weird to go after somebody that cries and find that hot. Now, he did ultimately choose a girl that cries on plenty of airplanes.
Yeah.
So I guess it worked at the end of the day.
It did. It went exactly as I said it did.
But yeah, like I don't know. He definitely gets off on Felicity's bullshit, which they should just be perfect together.
Yeah, exactly. So Julie's here and she, like, when he asks if she likes Ben, she kind of does like a yeah, sort of vibe. Like, I don't think she's super into Ben, but she says the real problem is that like Ben is really into her. And so she doesn't know what to do because Felicity is super excited to hang out with Ben. And I think Noel off in the corner is just like, why does nobody like me?
Because you're weird. That's fine.
Oh, it's so funny to me. It's so funny.
From cozy breakfast nooks to formal dining areas, Ashley has versatile dining options starting at just $499.99. And for a limited time only, you can receive a $250 mattress credit with the purchase of any 6-piece bedroom set. Plus, get 60 months special financing on select in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Shop and save today, only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. No minimum purchase required. See ashley.com for details.
Ladies, get ready for an electrifying night of entertainment as Thunder from Down Under comes to the Rivers Casino Event Center on November 23rd. Heralded as the #1 male revue in the world, Australia's Thunder from Down Under has been captivating audiences for over 3 decades with unmatched charm and talent. Get ready for heart-pounding dance numbers, sensational costumes, and interactive audience engagement for a night you'll never forget. Thunder from Down Under at Rivers Casino Event Center, November 23rd. Details and tickets at riverscasino.com.
From cozy breakfast nooks to formal dining areas, Ashley has versatile dining options starting at just $499.99. And for a limited time only, you can receive a $250 mattress credit with the purchase of any 6-piece bedroom set. Plus, get 60 months special financing on select in-store purchases made with your Ashley Advantage Synchrony credit card. Shop and save today, only at Ashley. Subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. No minimum purchase required. See ashley.com for details.
Like, I love that after everyone has conversations with Noel, they're always like asking Noel for advice, and then they finish and they're like, this wasn't helpful at all.
I know when you said that, I was like, yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. That's great. We're then in drama class where this is where Ben like this girl goes before him, and it's like very dramatic. It's all about how like she has this play pamphlet thing and her brother wrote like really nice things in it and he never said those things to her and she's crying and it's dramatic. And then Ben goes up and he has a sandwich and he basically blows off this entire assignment, Sarah, and everyone is laughing, but the teacher does not seem very amused.
Yeah. I mean, this is such an easy assignment, and you don't have the respect to just like not fuck around. Like, come on. I did think this was like I didn't realize that she was holding a book, and I thought that it was just like, oh, we're going to describe something, and we're
Oh,
going to
people
have
like
to
had to
guess.
guess or something.
So I guessed, but my guess was a really bad guess, and Adam's been laughing at me about it. Because okay, so do you have like what it describe? She said it was flat, it's foldable, it's material, right?
Yeah. Let me go back to here we go. She says it's material, it's thin, it's smooth,
Yeah.
folded, held together with print on it.
Oh, I didn't hear that part, but
And then
yeah.
and then he says, don't say print. And so she says, oh, with color on it.
Yeah.
What did you guess it was?
Pizza.
It's thin and smooth. That's how you describe pizza?
Were you thinking of pizza in a box?
No.
No? Oh my gosh.
I heard foldable. It was like pizza.
That's the first thing you thought of
Yeah.
when you hear the word
my
foldable.
Gosh.
Yeah. So now Adam keeps yelling pizza at me. Because I yelled it out like pizza. It was like, it's a fucking book. It's right there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, he makes light of this super, super easy assignment, which again, it's just like, bro, what are you doing? Back in Felicity's class, she like cannot find this freaking book anywhere, and she's really having a hard time. She went everywhere, all over the place. And meanwhile, Noah's like, do you have any special requests? And Felicity's like, chocolate. That's what I want for my college party, chocolate.
I mean,
that's a weird party
relatable.
food.
Okay. Who doesn't want chocolate?
I do want chocolate. I do. But it is a weird party food. I was thinking like maybe like kisses, like Hershey Kisses. That's kind of normal.
Yeah, I feel
for
like
the party.
you need individually wrapped candies for a party, unless
Yeah.
it's for a dorm party. You know what I
But
mean?
Ben straight up got her like 50 chocolate bars. He went
He's
to
like,
Lindy.
you want chocolate? Here you go, baby.
Did you see that? It was stacked a mile high. He went
Yeah.
to like the local Walgreens
Are
and
you-
really.
You mean for the party, like the chocolate Noel got for the party?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
the thing that
well,
makes someone sick.
What happened is when he was talking to the guys, the cousins of that girl or whatever, he was like, "Do you have access to chocolate?" And I was like, "Why are you asking them if they
You're
have
gonna
access
get
to
drug
chocolate?
chocolate.
You have access to chocolate. Just go to a store."
Go to the
Seriously.
Walgreens and get some fucking chocolate.
Exactly.
Do
Sorry
you
to
have
keep
access
yelling,
to
but I guess
chocolate?
I'm very passionate about this episode.
What
No,
kind of
It doesn't
chocolate
make
do you?
any sense though.
I
Like,
know, it
because
never
Noel
does.
literally could just go to a grocery store.
What kind of chocolate do you want at your party?
I would want individually wrapped chocolate so that I don't like if it was like a bowl of M&Ms, I'm like, I'm
you-
not touching that.
Can you elaborate what that means? Individually wrapped chocolate.
Yeah, so like you were saying, like Hershey Kisses, or like
Mhm.
Lindy's holding up a miniature
Oh,
Kit Kat.
Wait,
you know?
Lindy, why do you have
Sometimes
access
she
to
needs a
Kit Kat?
sweet treat.
A sweet treat.
Seriously.
Lindy's sweet treats.
I love my
Mhm.
sweet treats. I've always got them within arm's reach. And
got-
so I just picked
yeah.
up the first one I saw, which was this individually wrapped Kit Kat.
Okay, so you
Incredible.
have this Kit Kat, and like, what? Do you have like a bowl of sweet treats next to you?
Yeah.
And how long does that last you? Because the thing is that if I had a bowl of Kit Kats next to me, they would be gone in like a day, which is
Yeah.
why I can't have a bowl of Kit Kats
Same,
next to me.
same.
I try not to eat those particular treats all at once. You know, I try to spread them out over several
Mhm.
days.
Wow, to have willpower.
Yeah, I don't have that. So then Felicity again, I can't stand her. She goes up to Professor and she's like, "Listen, I still don't have the book, but I did make photocopies of someone else's."
Good for you.
And then she says, "I just want to make sure we're good." And I'm like, "Felicity, do you really not have friends so much that you need the professor to be your friend?"
we're good. He doesn't think about you, Felicity. He's never thought about you.
Never.
You can't be good because you've never been like not good.
You've never been anything to this
You've
man.
never
Yeah.
been anything. You mean nothing to him, Felicity. You're nothing.
Yeah.
Oh
That's a
my
little
God.
mean. Everybody's
I-
something.
He was being a jerk, but I was like, just stop talking to him. Like, Felicity, stop. Get yourself out of
That's
this.
what I'm saying. I totally agree with you, Lindy, because he's a total fucking dickhead. Because he's just like, he basically is like, I never think of you. But the thing that I don't like is he's just like, oh, instead of the assignment, then you know what? Just write a paper on how good we are. And it's just like, wait, what?
That's what she said.
Yeah, she's so confused and like aghast. And I'm just like, I mean, this professor is truly a fucking dickhead.
Well, he's being sarcastic, but you know she went home and wrote like a 20-page
Of course she
paper
did.
about how
Yeah.
good they are.
She just can't. So then we're back to the Russian mafia who's like talking to Noel about all these like party supplies they need, and he's like, you have beeper, we get you beeper, like you need beeper. And it's
Why
just
do you
like,
need
what?
beeper for party?
Because they want him to run drugs for them or something. I don't know.
Do I need a beeper?
No, you live
No.
in the 21st century. You don't need a beeper.
I might need a beeper. I want beeper per party.
Sarah, it's not 1998. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that all is going on is like, we'll get you beeper. And then he's like, okay, I need access to chocolate too. It's like, oh my God.
Man, I can go get a beeper for $12.50 on eBay right now.
Just-
Is that a good deal for beeper?
No,
because you don't need one. You could spend
it
$0
wouldn't even work.
and your life would be the same.
Seriously. She's really gonna. Didn't we just talk about your buying tendencies? What's the payment plan work out to? Is it $2 a month for like 6 months?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, well,
I
that's
mean,
nothing.
steal.
I mean, you might as well get it.
Yeah. I could put it on PayPal credit. Yeah, special financing available. See terms and apply now.
There is. So Felicity and Ben meet up again, and they're talking about his like assignment in class, and he talks about like, oh, I have to bring something important, and she talks about like, oh, this necklace, like it was my grandmother's, and then she starts talking about, but the most important thing to me, and this, I'm like, stop it, Felicity, stop it. And she's like, it's just being here, and I swear to God, I almost thought she was going to be like, with you.
Ew. I don't know. I mean, I guess.
I don't understand, like, okay, because Julie, we kind of talked through where her head might be at. But Ben, I kind of don't get Lindy, because he feels like he's all in on Julie, right? But then he's like, oh, are you still having that party? I'll be there. And I'm like, okay, but if you're going there for Julie, like, why are you saying to Felicity, like, oh, I'm excited for this?
Yeah, Ben's actions confuse me a little bit because he's clearly into Julie. He's clearly like not into Felicity. So I'm like, maybe he just kind of pities her because he knows, okay, she followed me here to college. Like, I should be nice to her, but so I don't know. But I think his niceness, she is gonna misconstrue that. Like,
And he knows she's crazy.
You cannot be nice to her, Ben. I'm sorry, but she is gonna take that and run with it.
She
Yeah.
I gotta say, Felicity is Ben's backup plan.
Oh. Okay, to be fair, it is nice to feel like someone likes you. So maybe he's just like, I gotta hang on to that.
Yeah,
But he should know that she's off, like she's lost her mind.
that's fine. But also, haven't you ever heard that the crazy girls are good in bed?
I mean, she's a virgin. Well, we're gonna talk about that in like literally 5 seconds.
She was a virgin.
She's a virgin. But before we talk about that scene, because literally my favorite scene of the entire episode, we have to I've got to spend like 2 seconds on the fact that Felicity in this scene with Ben looks like she's wearing a costume for Doug Funny from the show Doug. She's wearing khaki pants and like this like hunter green sweater. And
I need a screeny.
it looks exactly like Doug
Do you remember
Doug
the
Funny.
episode?
Hold
of
on, I'm
Doug
gonna put it in. I'm gonna send it to our group chat. So
when
please
Doug
send-
came back from camp and he like came back chubby, and this is why I have so much shame about weight. Where they're
90s
like,
shows
Doug,
will do that to you.
Doug Funny, you're fat, and it's just like he's just trying to live life and have some snacks at camp.
Yeah, he just wants to like enjoy himself.
Yeah.
But the only difference between her and Doug Funny is that Doug wears a sweater vest and khaki shorts,
my
and she's wearing a sweater with khaki pants.
I see the resemblance.
Thank
the
you.
resemblance. This is
It's uncanny.
everyone needs to look this up because she is
Mhm.
dressed like Doug.
Yeah, looks just like him. Okay. I'm gonna get to the next scene because it's literally the best. It's just the best. So Felicity, as she's wont to do, is making another tape recording for Sally. And she says, listen, I would only say this to you. And after you listen to this tape, you have to erase it. I hope Sally kept this forever and ever. And she says, I can actually picture. I can't.
Jess,
I
you
can
have
actually
to.
picture what it might be like to be with a man for the first time. And let me just say, that sentence could have ended there. And we literally would have known exactly what she meant, but she
Yeah.
didn't end it there.
No.
She says, actually, I could actually picture what it might be like to be with a man for the first time sexually.
Sexually.
And this to me was the equivalent of I could be sexual too,
I can-
Dawson.
I could be sexual too, yeah. Can you imagine? Can I imagine being with a man for the first time sexually? Like, can you, Felicity? Can you?
It's just so funny. Like, why? Just like, I understand, Lindy, like, okay, Felicity's young, she's inexperienced, she's like excited to like, but like, we heard from her earlier that her dream, her literal dream, is to go sit and talk with Ben. And now all of a sudden she discusses the sandwich with him, and they're like, she's like, I'm gonna fuck his brains out. Like, what are we doing here?
That's what she wanted. Jessica, why do you think that all the BYU kids are ring before spring? Because when you're 18 years old, you're horny as fuck. That's what Felicity wants.
But it jumps so fast from I want to sit on my bed and talk with him for hours to like, I now realize what it might be like to be with a man sexually.
She just wants to sit on his dick for hours. That's what she wants.
Whoa. Okay. I was gonna say, I don't have a problem with her like thinking about this. Like, sure, that makes sense. Like, she's in love with Ben. She followed him to college. Yeah, she's gonna be thinking about that. But like, Felicity, you cannot commit these thoughts to tape. You just can't. You just can't. Okay.
Yeah, okay. When you
Yes.
say something mortifying, you can't put it on record, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, this is why I tell all of my secrets to Jessica in written form on Discord, so they'll never ever ever be accessible on record.
Never.
Well, here's the problem. Okay, she could have had this conversation with Sally over the phone, and then no one else would have the chance of hearing it.
Except for the government.
But who cares? They don't care about Felicity.
Okay, this is my funniest thing. You know how people were like, oh my gosh, like I don't want the government tracking me. If the government wants to hear my fuckery, let them. The government who's listening in could literally be my audience for my one woman show. I don't give a fuck. But
yeah.
Sally, she can't get Sally on the phone because Sally's dead. She's a ghost.
Can we
Lindy.
talk about Sally? I know you've already talked about
Let's
her,
talk
but
about Sally.
Let's talk about Sally. I'm sorry, but Sally's ridiculous. The concept, the person.
Mhm.
Why is Sally part of this show? I don't understand why we need her.
They
Why
got
is she
Janine
friends?
Galapagos Island on
That's
the
fine,
show.
but like, if you want her on the show, like have her as a character, not as a voice. Okay,
Yeah.
but like it's weird. Why is this older woman friends with Felicity who just turned 18 and they're talking about all sorts of things? Like, why are they friends? I don't get it. And why
weird.
can they never talk on the phone?
I don't know. It's she doesn't
Yeah.
exist. This is it. Okay. So like either she's dead and she's a ghost, but her husband is dead. Maybe they're both dead. That's option one. Option two, she's not real. Like I just don't think that she's real. I just like think that Felicity made up a person in her head. And if you're like, hey Sarah, but we got Janine Galopoulos over here, of course she's real. I will say Kristen Bell was Gossip Girl for 8 years, and we didn't see Kristen Bell as Gossip Girl once. So anything is possible.
That is so true.
It's true.
I'm only bringing facts here.
So many facts.
There's
So
only
many facts.
It really takes me out of it when at the end of the episode, like Sally's voice comes over and she's like telling a story to Felicity. I'm like, am I
Yeah.
supposed to care about?
Yeah.
I'm being harsh, but I don't like. Why would I care about Sally? I've never seen her. I don't know
Yeah.
her deal. She could be fictitious, like Sarah said. Like, who's to say?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that Felicity is an unreliable narrator. She is crazy. She's not a liar though. But also I think that she can tell a story that is made up and then 1000% believe that is real. That's the thing. She's like one
Yeah.
of those girlies.
Yeah. And so she has this whole like confessional. And then we get like Ben's big moment and we get a little bit more background information on Ben. So he takes his keys out and he says, these are the keys to my apartment. So apparently he doesn't have a dorm, he has an apartment. But he talks about how that like him and his father don't get along. And it's worse for his mom, who's like the absolute best. She's elegant. She's incredible. She's beautiful, but she cries a lot. Sarah.
Sorry.
And then he says that like he's seen pictures of them before they had him and he looks really happy.
You know what? I will say that this reminds me of the greatest story ever told.
Oh
Do
no.
you want me to tell you the story?
Oh God,
There's
I feel like
this-
I'm gonna hate it.
No, you're gonna love it, okay?
Okay, all right.
Okay. Once upon a time there was this girl and she wakes up. But the issue is that like she's so lucky and she's a star, but she cries. And her lonely heart is just thinking,
Sarah!
there's nothing in my life that's missing. Then why do these tears come at night? Why? Because she's so lucky. So yeah. Lindy looks so confused.
I am
She's
confused.
reading the
Lindy-
lyrics to Britney Spears' song Lucky.
Okay, I thought
Yep.
it was a song. I was like, this is
Yeah.
probably a song.
This
Yeah.
is the best song. Yeah, isn't she lovely? This Hollywood girl. I mean, that's what they say, but she just cries at night.
Anyway, so Ben's talking about how his parents were like basically so happy before he was born. And he says, like, these keys, I'm not home anymore, which is great for me. But he's like, I think that my dad and I just don't have to deal with each other, which is nice. And so my mom isn't sad because we're not arguing. And that's what these keys mean. And I'm just like, okay, so obviously we're finding out Ben doesn't have a great relationship with his dad. Like, and that just makes his mom sad, I guess. It's like, what? Let me make this deeper.
You guys are laughing, but I actually think
Sorry.
this was really well done.
Yeah.
I really appreciated this scene
Okay.
of Ben. Like just the sadness that he said this with, like, so my mom isn't so sad, I hope. And then he's like, it's better for everyone that I have these keys. Like that breaks my heart that it's
Yeah.
like, oh, it's better for my parents if I'm not there. Like that's heartbreaking. And I think it adds more depth to Ben. I mean, in the first episode, didn't we see him like fighting at graduation?
mom.
Like
Him
with
is his mom.
With his
Yeah.
So-
mom.
there's that complexity has been there from the first episode, and I
True.
think we're getting more hints of it. And so I like this. It's adding more details to Ben's
To to Ben's story.
Character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lindy,
Yeah.
that is so true. Jessica, why do you have to be such a fucking jerk? That is so true. No, you are right. Like I think that's interesting to have like a more of a background on Ben, especially if he's going to be one of our main characters here, somebody that we're going to follow. Jess and I were literally asking for more background information on Ben a few episodes ago. And I mean, I thought that this is kind of where this conversation was going. I saw the keys, and my initial thought was freedom. Like, these keys
Yeah.
represent freedom. Like, when you have a pair of keys, like if they're car keys, like think about it. Like, when you're a teen, you have like literally no freedom. Like, you rely on rides from your parents or like a sibling
Mhm.
until you get your first set of car keys, and then that represents freedom. Like, we heard Kim Kelly talk about it in Freaks and Geeks, how her ugly little car was the first sign of freedom that she ever had. So I think that it's like really important for Ben, and it is sad. Like, he thinks that like his parents' life is better without him, but maybe his dad's just a effing jerk, it sounds
Yeah.
like. And I want to meet his dad. Like, who's his dad?
Seems like a real asshole.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I was mostly laughing just because he's like, my mom, she cries a lot, and then they look so happy without me. It's like terrible. But then we get a little scene with Megan and Felicity where Megan says something that is so incredibly 90s that I absolutely died when she's like, "Oh, are you going with your little friend Julie and her Tiger Beat boyfriend?"
Tiger Beat.
Tiger Beat was so the moment, the magazine.
Yeah.
But then I just love Felicity being like, "Oh no, Julie doesn't have a boyfriend," and she's like, "Is Ben invisible? Like, do you see him?"
Ben is like, Megan's like, "You are such a dumb hoe. I'm not even here most of the time, and I know more what's going on in the school than you do."
I don't like Megan so far. I just feel like it must suck to have a roommate who's like so rude and never there. And like, I think Felicity might be doing a lot better if she had like a supportive roommate. They
That's
could hang
true.
out, and then she wouldn't have to be friends with Julie. Like, that'd be a lot better.
What is Megan up to? Like, what are we imagining? Is
I
she just-
love though that Megan is just bopping around, just making observations. She's
Sure.
just like walking around, seeing people together, calling things as she sees them.
Sure. But like I said, what is Megan doing? What is she doing in her day to day? What's her major?
Not hanging out with
What's her story?
Felicity.
Not hanging out with Felicity. Anywhere but hanging out with Felicity
Yeah.
is what she's up to.
Megan, for the fact that she's a freshman, does not give freshman vibes at all. She's like so comfortable. Like, I think we talked about, I think we said like we think she's like from New York or something.
Yeah, that would track, right? Like,
Mhm.
she's probably hanging out in like the underground party scenes and
Yeah.
doing things that are actually like a very New York vibe. She's probably hanging out at like the gay clubs. Like, I feel like Megan probably knows the places to go.
Mm-hmm. Probably, yeah. So they finish up their conversation. Felicity looks like she's like still thinking about it, but then it's party time. It is party time, but the problem is no one's at this party, and these snacks are ridiculous for a college party.
This is like your dad's Thanksgiving.
It really is. It's
The
like the
other week.
fanciest shit. Like, they have like a veggie platter. Then we get like the blonde Russian girl just like jamming out. She doesn't care. She's just like, and why are the Russian like cousins here?
All
I don't
the
understand
entire
this.
Russian mafia is there being bouncers. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know how we got here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no one's at this party, Lindy.
I don't blame them. This is a dorm sanctioned party organized by Noel.
Yeah.
So the fact that so many people end up coming is really impressive, honestly.
Mhm.
Well, it's because they heard about the quality snacks that they had.
They have all the
Apparently,
chocolate.
the chocolate sent someone to the hospital or something.
Yeah, because probably had drugs in it.
Man, way to ruin good chocolate.
Yeah. So Felicity's getting ready for her party. She's all dressed up, and Noel comes to her. I think Noel has a misunderstanding about Felicity's popularity, to be honest. Because he's like, I just wanted to get ahead of the curve. I needed to get ahead of everyone else and be first in line to dance with you. And I'm like, okay, I didn't go to college parties, right? I've said this before, but Lindy, I feel like this is only a thing at like high school parties where you're like, oh, at the dance later, will you dance with me? Like, I feel like a college party, it's more of just like, we're all just dancing.
Yeah, I don't think you'd have to ask someone to dance in advance. That doesn't make any sense. You would just hang out with her and then maybe you'd end up dancing, but like just go talk to her. Like you don't have to reserve a spot.
I mean, like, seriously, like, this kind of just reminded me of like the Gilded Age dance card situation. Just
Yeah.
it's like,
yeah.
hi, can I sign your dance card and borrow you for 5 to 10 minutes on the dance floor?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Everything's ridiculous. This whole show.
It is, but I love it. So the party is actually getting off to like, we're getting people are partying. We got the Russians smoking a whole lot of cigarettes. And yeah, so Ben comes in and like suddenly he's like whispering sweet nothings into Julie's ear. And from across the way, Felicity looks at Ben as he's walking in and she has this dream. He's going to look at me. Our eyes are going to lock. He's going to tell me how pretty I look. We're going to dance for hours. We're going to get so sweaty.
I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I get like this. Like sometimes I like have like a whole fantasy in my head about what's going to happen and nothing ever happens. Like I like fully like would have like the hottest outfit I have on and then I think like, oh, he's going to like do this or do that and like nothing happens. I don't know, maybe I get it. Do you get it?
I get the fantasizing,
Yeah.
but like she just takes it to such an extra level.
Yeah. Just a little bit of extraness.
Just a little bit. But yeah, so he starts whispering into Julie's ear and she's like smiling. And of course, Felicity is just like devastated, but she doesn't even have her confidant in Noel, Lindy, because he gets pulled away to help take someone to the hospital from the chocolate.
Exactly. Okay, you guys were talking about like, should you give either Noel or Ben a point in each episode, depending on like who won the episode? I think you should. And I think it's pretty clear who's the winner in this one.
No.
Oh.
Why would Noel be the winner?
Noel wanted to dance with Felicity, and Felicity's not into him. And then he doesn't even get the chance to dance because he has to take this kid to the hospital. And just, Noel, what are you doing? I just
want the points, Lindy.
Oh, it's a contest between you two?
I think so.
Oh, I think the contest is just, I mean, we can make it a contest, but that would make it harder to objectively give points.
Yeah, I don't think either of you is going to be the winner. I think is Ben
Noel
or
or Ben.
Yeah, let's be honest. We're all losers here.
That's fair.
Every character is a loser, honestly.
Honestly.
So we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to like play catch up at the end of this episode and award some points. But Julie comes over to Felicity and we get Felicity being like, why don't you tell me what's going on? It's like, oh my god, here we go. We're getting a little bit of a fight 3 episodes in, which I love. She says, I get this horrible feeling I can't trust you. Every time I talk to you about Ben, you get really weird. And I know you keep saying there's nothing going on, but that's not what it looks like. I feel like you're lying to me. And this is when Julie admits that Ben wanted to go out with her, but she told him about the stupid party because I knew you would be here and it's what you would want. And he calls me all the time and he asks me out, but I keep saying no. And then she says, I'm tired of protecting you from the truth.
I love this. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this is the level of petty that I think we should all aspire to. Just like ruin her in a second.
Here's the problem. I don't like either one of them in this situation. I thought Julie sounded like a brat. She was like, he asked me out a lot, and I'm just like, I'm like, okay, Julie. Like, how many times is Ben asking her out? Like, geez,
A lot.
Ben.
A lot.
Okay. What are any of these people doing? And no, I'm not siding with Felicity, of course, but I'm not siding with anyone, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay. I feel like from what we've seen, like, I just want to side with Julie because it's like there's really a no way she's gonna win this situation. Either she tells Felicity about Ben and like the fact that he's been asking her out and upsets Felicity. Like, I feel like she's someone who just hates confrontation, and so she's just like not saying yes to Ben, but also not telling Felicity that Ben keeps asking her out to try to like play the middle. But she doesn't really understand the wackadoos that she's in a triangle with. And I feel like that's where it goes, south, basically.
She never asked for any of this. Truly. All she did was a guy was interested in her. She asked her friend if there's her quote unquote friend, if there's anything between them. Felicity said no. So then she went out with a guy and had a night out. And now she's in a love triangle. And she has this quote unquote friend telling her that she's a piece of shit for lying to her, when in reality, Felicity lied to her because she was the one that said that she had no interest. They were just friends. They just knew each other from high school. It's like Felicity's fault because Felicity wasn't honest first. Like, Julie would not have gone after him or hooked up with him if Felicity was just honest from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hot ass mess, in other words, but it's gonna get fucking messier because Felicity's tape that she was supposed to send to Sally somehow ends up in the hands of the Russian mafia.
I'll tell you how.
Oh, yes, please enlighten us.
Felicity was recording it before the party. She was still writing it. Then she put it down on her dresser to kind of like put it in a package to mail to Sally. And then Noel knocked on her door and she got distracted. Then the blonde-haired girl came by and was like, "Hey, do you have any tapes of music for the party?" And Felicity was like, "Oh yeah, I have some back there," because she had a stack of music tapes with the tape for Sally. And so the girl grabbed a bunch of those.
All right, so it's Felicity's
fault.
Yeah.
If she's so stupid, why would you tell someone, "Oh yeah, I have tapes over there," when you know your tape talking about being with a man for the first time sexually is also sitting there?
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a good point. Yeah.
I guess she couldn't say, "My tapes are over there. Just don't take the one where I confess I'm a virgin."
So this is the worst though, because she's like in the middle of this party and it's like she's in the middle of saying this whole thing and she's like, "Turn it off, someone turn it off," and no one's turning it off. In fact, the entire room gets silent instead and listens to her say this, including Ben and Julie. And so she is like mortified, runs to her room. Of course, there's a couple making out in there, and it's like really awkward.
Lock your doors, you dumb hoe.
Yeah, really bad.
Okay,
Really bad.
this scene, this moment is why I want to talk about this episode. And like, oh my gosh, just it's so perfect. Just the tape playing, and then like the slow-mo of her like, "No, turn it off," and like trying to get over there.
Yeah.
And then the walk of shame as she leaves the party. Everyone's staring at her as she walks out. I mean, this is so cringe. It's a miracle that Todd, our friend, can watch this at all.
Seriously, I thought about him so much while watching this because I'm like, how did he make it through?
What's the plan here? You have to leave school at this point, right? Like, everybody knows that you're a loser virgin.
Yeah. And
call
then
your
do
dad
things
and-
like, "I can see myself with a man sexually." Like, that's so embarrassing.
She needs to call her dad and be like, "Hey, I changed my mind. I'll take your offer. Like, get me out of here."
We'll go to Stanford.
Is the free car still up for grabs? Because I would like that too, actually.
Yeah, it's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. And so she's like, "Okay, let me go be in my room." And there's this couple making out and she like kicks out, which, like you said, Sarah, she really should have just like locked her door to begin with. But of course, in comes Julie, because I don't know, Julie, this seems like a terrible time for you to go try to comfort her, but she's just like, oh, by the way, what I said before, like that, it didn't come out right.
I don't know. If I was Julie, I would double down and be like, and guess what? I'm going to fuck Ben tonight too, bitch. Bye. See you later. Have fun crying, you whiny whore.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
Sarah
so
hates
mean.
Felicity so much.
She really does. She really does. Oh my gosh. And so yeah, like Felicity is going through it. And somehow this isn't the end of the episode. No, we continue. Felicity is fucking depressed. And
Big same, join the club, Felicity. Take Zoloft and just keep going like the rest of us
the
do.
thing I don't understand is if this is the same night. It doesn't seem like she went to bed. She's
What?
awake.
This is it has to be the same night.
The same
yeah.
night. Do you
It's so
think
confusing to me though.
Yeah.
So she gets up and she's like, you know what I need? Ben and Jerry's, baby. So she goes and she
Relatable,
gets some Ben and
okay?
It is relatable. What is she? Let me see what flavor she buys.
I think she got chocolate
okay.
chip cookie dough.
Actually, I wanted to talk about this because
Yes,
she
please.
reaches for chocolate chip cookie dough. Okay, which normally is a vanilla ice cream with chunks
Yes.
of chocolate chip cookie dough.
Oh, yeah.
However, when you see the empty carton on her bed later, it looks like the sides are covered with like chocolate ice
Chocolate,
cream.
yeah.
And I
Lindy,
was
you're
like,
such a
what's
detective.
going on?
What is going on? Is it chocolate chip cookie dough? What
I thought about that, but it
yeah.
didn't look like
didn't
that.
look
Also,
like that.
she buys a spoon.
A spoon.
Does this bitch not have a spoon?
This is the craziest thing.
That was my other favorite part. It's like it's a single spoon and it's labeled all capital letters. Spoon. And it was 79 cents or something.
Oh, was it? I was like, there's no way this spoon was not $13. Like,
Oh
you know,
my
when you buy
God.
an individual spoon. I don't understand why she just didn't have like a plastic spoon or something. Why did you buy a spoon? An individual spoon. Steal it, actually. I would just steal the spoon.
It's ridiculous. It's truly ridiculous. And of course, who's at the register? None other than her freaking professor, Dr. Garrity.
Yeah.
And she has the audacity to say to this man, I need to know what I did to make you hate me.
You exist. That's what it is. You just exist.
And I love
You are breathing. That's why I hate you.
I just love how he's like, listen, I've been a professor for twice as long as you've been alive. And I don't want you to be a teacher's pet. And she's like, I don't want to be a teacher's pet.
You are a teacher's pet.
Stay with Felicity.
Teachers' pets deserve noogies. They do.
So she's just like, poor Felicity literally is just like a punching bag. But the worst part is that she's a punching bag that has like a punch me sign on her back. Like it's
Yeah.
just like, but that she put there.
I
She's not
know.
doing herself any favors is the
No.
problem. Like
No.
she could be doing better at college right now if she wasn't telling her deepest darkest thoughts, recording them on tape, and if she wasn't telling her professor information he does not need to know. And it's just Felicity, at some point you gotta help yourself a little bit.
Yeah. No, she
Help me help
do-
you.
She does not help herself. And so, of course, she like goes back to the dorm. She runs into Noel where he's like, hey, I heard about that super embarrassing tape. And she's like, yeah, I don't really want to talk about it right now, but thanks for the chocolate that almost killed someone. She goes back. She eats the entire pint, which, as Lindy says, does look like chocolate and makes no sense. Then she's sleeping. Okay, first of all, like, don't leave an empty ice cream carton on you, but that just seems like you're gonna make a big old mess. But she's sleeping, and the door opens up, and in comes freaking Ben, and I'm just like, my guy, hasn't she done enough? Like, do you have no other friends in the entire universe? Because he's like, well, there was a party, and all my roommates are out, so I can't get in. And I left my keys in the classroom and, so I need somewhere. Do you think I can stay here? This man done lost his mind.
And this
Yeah.
is the problem. Like, Ben, you cannot be doing this. You're making Felicity's fantasies come true. And now like she's gonna be even more in love with you, and you know that she's obsessed with you, and yet you're still asking to sleep in her room. It's not a good idea.
No.
Also, I love when she's like, did you hear my tape? And he's like, not really. And she's like, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's just like, oh, I can like stay on the floor. And the audacity of Felicity to be like, oh, well, my roommate's not here, so you could totally stay in her bed.
No.
I would kill Felicity.
Yeah. This is grounds for murder, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Felicity, why didn't Felicity just invite him in her bed?
Because no one knows. No one knows why Felicity does literally anything.
Okay, do you want to hear this? Like, really, it's like another story of like Adam and I courting each other, but it's really so eggy. So, like, Adam and I planned this trip to.
I love how she didn't give us any option to actually say no to that.
Well, I want to know. I want to know.
Well, now that you've said it's awkward, I'm more likely to actually want to.
Okay, so Adam and I planned a trip. I like planned this trip to St. Louis, right? Like you all know this before like anything else because of blah blah blah. Like I was going to St. Louis and then we were going to Chicago. And I was like, I called him up and I was like, but like what's the bed situation? And Adam was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, there's one bed. What we're gonna do? There's like one bed. And he was like, I don't like. I was like, can you like call the front desk and like see if we can get like a cot? And he was like, oh, okay, like I could try that. I was like, or like I could like, you know, sleep in the chair. He was like, well, like you don't have to. And then I was like, well, I mean, I guess we could just sleep in the same bed together. We can be like adults about it, right? And he was like, yeah. I was like, I'm just trying to not be creepy about it. So then he was like, okay, I'm gonna go call the front desk to see if we can get caught. And then he totally did not do that, but he told me
I was just gonna say, did he call while you were in the room? Because if not, there's absolutely 0% chance he called.
This was when I was still in Jersey. And
right. Sorry, I misunderstood.
Yeah, this is when we were still quote unquote friends, right?
Got it.
So then he was like, I'm gonna call and ask. And then he like called me back. He was like, yeah, like can't get a cot. Like there's just not available. I was like, oh, okay. Like I guess we can just like be adults about it and just like share the bed. And then a few days later we confessed that we had feelings for each other. So we did ultimately share the bed. But that's what you have to do. You have to be like, I mean, I don't want to be awkward about it, but like, do you want to share the bed?
Yeah, I think she could have done a better job than offering her roommate's bed. Felicity.
Yeah. Felicity could have been more clever, and she could have been like, oh, like my roommate's probably gonna be here, so like you can just share my bed. Like
yeah, I don't want you hurting your back on the floor.
Everybody can just share a bed. It's okay, right? Right? It's totally fine for
the only other thing is
platonic friends to share a bed.
Well, it's also a twin bed, which I feel like is very different than sharing a queen.
Yeah.
Because sharing a queen, you have your space, but sharing a twin, it's like, I'm so sorry, but like if people are facing certain ways and one of those people has specific genitalia that like does things in the morning, like she's gonna be feeling something in her back in the morning.
Love that. The best time of the day.
Okay. All right. Anyway.
It's true.
Anyway, so then we get to hear from Sally when she says that a guy asked her out. But again, like literally nobody cares about this, but she's like, I'm not ready yet. And that's it.
Okay. Sally, the audacity. She's like, his name's Emmett. Can you believe that? What do you mean? That's a
Can you believe his name is Emmett?
I think Emmett's a hot guy name.
Is it?
I think so.
Implying? Like, I didn't get it.
I thought so. I thought that Emmett's a hot. Is that what it is? Like, because there's definitely hot guy names. Like, what's the hottest guy name that you can think of? Because nobody be over here fucking Greg's. Like, nobody cares.
I think some people are actually.
Nobody's fucking Greg's. What is the hottest? I'm gonna Google this. What is the hottest guy name? Okay, do you want to hear here we go. 200 most attractive and hot guy names. Oh wait, these are in alphabetical order. That's not helpful.
Yeah, we need a top 10 list.
There's no definitive answer though.
Lindy, you know that there's a
how dare
Hawkeye
you?
name.
They're
You both were like, no, you're
no,
wrong.
there's definitely
Lindy, you're
definitive answers.
definitively wrong.
Okay, I found one that has just like random list. I'm gonna see if either of our partners' names are on here.
No, because that's our partners don't have Hawkeye names.
Your partner apparently does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's the
He's on
hottest
this
guy.
list.
Adam. is a great
Unfortunately
name.
for Lindy and I, not the case, but
Yeah,
Sad.
Jess and I are both with a guy named Will. That's why she said
Okay.
for both of us.
I knew that. See?
I know. I'm
Um,
telling the audience.
Oh, what do we feel? How do we feel about Channing? Is that just because
No.
of Channing Tatum?
That's
Yeah,
because
totally.
of Channing Tatum. That's the only
Jack,
reason.
Nick.
No.
These are just
Okay.
names. Like
Lindy is so upset at this.
It depends
Very
on the-
obviously objective.
yeah, it depends on the guy. Like I understand there are names that are not really sexy, but like there's like
Like Hot Glens. Like
I just think Jack could be so many different guys. Like it just depends.
Yeah. Peter might work. Peter. No. Okay. Well, I tried. Anyway, so yeah, Emmett, Hawkeye Emmett. But Sally doesn't want to go out with him, and that's the end of our ridiculous
is
truly
that the
ridiculous
end?
episode.
No, not quite. Not
Oh,
quite
sorry,
the
there's
end.
something else. I'm so sorry. Yes, go ahead.
Well, Felicity watches Ben sleep. That's the end of the episode.
She's
Oh.
a psycho. That is what we've learned.
Okay, but guys, hold on. Time out. Who was lusting after Pacey when he was doing the same to
That was different.
It's not different. It's the same
Felicity
thing.
doesn't know this man. It's different.
This is different. And I don't know
when
why,
Pacey
but it is.
watched Joey sleep, they were like in love.
No, they weren't.
He was in love with her
At least they were
And
friends.
Felicity's in love with Ben.
in a psychotic way, not in a real way.
It's no different. It's no.
I cannot articulate why it's different, but I know that
It's
it is
definitely different.
And this is
Because
creepy.
Felicity has never dated this man. She only knew of
It
him in high
wasn't-
school.
this
They're
was-
not friends. She barely knows this guy, and she's obsessed with him. She moved across the country to just be in his general vicinity.
That reminds me, sorry, a little off topic, but
Oh,
did you say-
please.
We're already here.
did you say that you're kind of looking for a way to intro the podcast
Yes.
now that you're not doing Dawson's Creek anymore?
Yes.
Okay. How's this? Let me know.
Okay.
Do you not want to move across the country following a random dude to college? Neither do we. Welcome to Shit 90 Shows Tommy.
That's good. That's good. You know
So
what?
honestly
I
great.
think that we need to have every guest that we have on propose it, and then that will be the intro that we have.
This is very one indescribable podcast.
Oh, sorry. Did I steal?
No, they do it similar.
No,
they
that's
did it
good,
with
yeah.
they did not the intro. They did it with like what they called specific points.
Of course I know this because this is my favorite podcast that I ever listened
Sarah
to.
has no idea
Um,
what's happening. It's when
Can I
okay,
just
what,
I'm gonna
Jess?
share. I am just gonna share very quickly that I looked at I use Pocket Casts for podcasts,
Yeah.
and I looked at my like their version of like Spotify Wrapped,
Mhm.
you know. And One Indescribable Podcast came in second for my top listened to podcasts.
Woohoo!
What's your
So,
top?
Shout
Thank
out,
you.
Normal
Pusher
Gossip?
Recaps.
Oh.
No, Normal Gossip was number 3 though.
Where was Shit 90 Shows taught me?
5th.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
Well,
I
she
don't
probably
like
doesn't
on
listen
these.
to herself as much.
I think honestly a lot of it was when I would like try to remember specific Dawson's Creek things, I'd go back and listen to our podcast. So that's probably why.
How do you get it?
It's on the app. You go into like your profile and then they have your year in podcasts.
You know, I don't know.
I listened to 24 different shows and 529 episodes.
I just listen to these days. I listen to podcasts on Spotify, to be honest with you.
Oh no, I don't use Spotify at all.
I love Spotify. You can get free audiobooks on Spotify.
Wow, if only we were sponsored by them. That would be lovely.
Lindy is.
Lindy, look
I'm-
at you.
Oh wait. Oh, we do like an ad for like Spotify for podcasters, I guess.
Yep.
Beautiful.
But-
So yeah, Felicity is a creep and she stares at Ben, and that's the end of our ridiculous episode. So I think we should talk about not only who's going to get the point this episode, which I feel like it seems like it should be Ben because he has two women who want to get with him, and Noel has a guy going to the hospital for a chocolate allergy. So I feel like it's the obvious Ben gets this point. But we do have two other episodes that we covered. We have the pilot and the last stand. I feel like in the pilot, maybe Noel should get the point because Ben finds out that this girl stalked him, which is very scary. And I don't know that I would be happy with that information.
I don't understand. Like, is it just like you win at life this episode?
Yeah, you win
Got it.
overall for the episode.
No.
Okay. And then the last stand was last episode. Which I'm just gonna do a quick Google and like try to remind myself exactly.
We don't
what
even
happened.
remember what
Well, it's
happened.
like they all blend together. So,
Yeah.
it's the one with her parents. Her parents
Yeah.
are checking up on her. Noel makes a really big faux pas and like sticks
Yeah.
his foot in his mouth in front of her parents. And oh wait, no, Ben has to win because Felicity's mom was like, "That guy's fucking hot."
I think Noel wins that episode.
Noel wins that episode.
I think so. I mean, so Lindy has to break the tiebreaker.
Lindy, who do you think won last episode?
Last episode, it has to be Ben because, like Jess said, Noel made a complete idiot of himself in front of Felicity's parents, and he's in love with her, so that matters to him.
Exactly.
And
So
then this episode,
we said Ben because
Well,
Noel had to deal with
I
an
think
allergy.
Noel.
Why do you
Why?
think Noel? You're just saying that.
You just want Noel to win because you're rooting
For
for
no
him.
reason. We're not tied to either of these people for this.
Sarah, what if
she's
you
in
ended
a
hating
trolly
Noel?
mood? You can tell by her face. You can just tell.
Yeah, I mean, I am. In a
You are.
trolling
Look at your
mood.
face. Like no one
I
can see your
am.
face except us. But like I know.
You
She's in a
know
trolly
when
mood.
you do by the look at my face. You always know when I'm
I
in
do
a trolling
know.
mood.
Yeah.
I
It
love
has
it.
to be Ben this episode.
Yeah.
Like Noel can't even get the AV department to respond to him. Like
He has to listen to not one but two women complain about how they're in love with Ben.
No,
Exactly.
I very well might be in the mafia now. Actually,
In the Russian mafia. It's
Whoops,
true.
oopsies, just popped. Accidentally got myself in the mafia.
Oh my
Whoopsie
gosh.
doopsie. Just like Sean and Corey did. In
Yes.
that
That one episode.
episode of Boy Meets World. Whoops, just
Oh my
got
gosh.
myself in the mafia.
my
Just a
gosh.
silly, goofy mood.
Just an accident.
Whoopsie
Um,
doopsie.
All right.
Sorry,
So
there's one more thing about
Yes.
this episode that we didn't talk about, and
please.
it's that the character Elena showed up, and it was for like 10 seconds at the party. You might not have even noticed, but did you
Oh,
notice there's
who is
another
she?
person in the intro
Yes.
credits that we haven't seen yet?
Yes,
and she
I
was in
did.
this episode.
I didn't know her name was Elena though.
I'm
I
pretty
thought
sure
I'm
her
it
looking
is.
name
at.
was
I'm gonna look at a picture of her.
Lena.
Oh, is she the one who was like, "Oh, hi, Felicity. You're from California. We haven't had a chance to meet."
Yeah.
And I was like, why would you approach Felicity? Is
Because
that
this
Elena?
is going to be Felicity's actual best friend.
Is it?
This is
Okay.
it. We found it. We found her actual
for
best
her.
friend. Thank God she finally has somebody. Not yet, but soon.
Okay.
I just wanted to like point that out
Point it out,
because
Thank
she
you.
was technically in the episode, even though we learned almost nothing about her.
Yeah,
She's in
She's in
it.
I'm
the
pretty
end
sure I
then.
remember her being like, "Hey, Felicity, my name's Elena. Are you from California?" And then Felicity's like, "Sorry, distracted. My life is ending right now on this videotape or this mixtape, so I have to go."
She was preoccupied.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some feedback because we do have some to go through. First up, I'm gonna play a voicemail from Temmie. Let's see what he thought of the episode.
Bonjour, comment allez-vous? Just kidding, Lindy. No French like the last time.
Yes, thank
When
you.
you're down and troubled and you need a helping hand from the writer's room, just remember you have a friend in J.J. Abrams. You know, he doesn't leave the show early like our pal Kevin Williamson did. I know we talked about writer's room and executive producers in season 3, especially of Dawson's Creek, so that's a thing to look forward to.
Huh.
Consistency from the creator. So that last bit of the singing, you know, It wasn't mansplaining. It was a song to soothe your feminine worries. You never hear a comeback from the fellas about mansplaining, so I thought I would try it. You know I love you, so come on. I'm wearing purple too, you bitch. From the last episode was so funny. And all the male voice mocking from Jess reminds me of Michelle Williams in the audiobook for Britney, recalling Timberlake talking to some rappers and her interpretation of how he would have sounded. And don't worry, Jess, we are in the prime timeline. Surprisingly, there will be timelines.
There will be
Bye.
timelines. What?
We're gonna be back in the past, back in
We're
the
going to be in
future.
other timelines?
Yeah, that's interesting. The equivalent to mansplaining has to be ma'am-splaining, right?
But what is ma'am-splaining?
It's just when you're condescending.
Well, why don't we just call
Why do people
Why
call
is
it
it gendered?
mansplaining?
Because
Why
that's
is it man-
specifically when men are condescending to women. That's why.
Okay, Jessica,
I just mansplained
mansplaining
you.
is you did actually.
That's why that has gender. But mansplaining
No,
is just
but-
someone being condescending, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's all gendered.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to know about these timelines, though. Also, I love being serenaded.
Tammy has a beautiful voice, but we know
Tammy.
that.
Okay, we also, of course, have to hear from our friend Todd the Librarian, who had such a fun time watching this episode that he sent in a
Yay.
voicemail. So let's see what he has to say.
Hi, Jess, Sarah, and Lindy. It is Todd the Librarian here. Happy to be along for the journey on the Felicity. Hey, Jess, Sarah, and Lindy. It's Todd the Librarian here. Happy to be along for the ride on your Felicity journey. I was a big fan of the show back in the day, so it's been fun to revisit it. Well, I say fun, but honestly, I don't remember it being as cringy as these first few episodes have been. Like the fact that I stuck with the show after the mail incident last week and the party and the tape this week, I just have to hope that it gets better, right? It gets better, maybe? We'll see. But I'm not here to ask you about the cringe or about Felicity knowing a man for the first time sexually. No, I'm here to ask possibly the most important question that's ever going to be asked on this pod. And that question is, does Q come too early in the alphabet? I look forward to hearing your thoughts on this super important question. I'm sure it'll be very insightful. I do have one other thing I need to say. You know what would have made this podcast a lot better? A band. Thanks.
I definitely think Q comes too early in the alphabet. I do agree with
As
that
we
character.
talked about, I agree with the girl. I think it should come later, and Sarah does not care at all.
Yeah, I really don't care.
Also, I do have to plug in that Tom Palmer had sent us in a question. He says, rank the college professors in the shit 90s canon. So he has Mr. Feeney, who he says is unqualified, which I strongly disagree with. He says only should be a high school teacher. Stuart from Boy Meets World, who hits on Topanga, obviously at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Wilder, who hits on Joey, also
Who
at the
is in a
bottom.
relationship with Joey.
Yeah, in a
basically.
relationship with Joey. Professor Freeman, who hits on Jack.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Hetson, who sucks. Dr. Garraby, who is in this one, and he's the chemistry professor. I guess if you put it that way, Feeney is the only good one
Yeah,
of all those.
that is true. We don't have a lot of good professors up in here.
No, never good.
Garabay might be second just because he didn't hit on his students.
Yeah, I think he is. It's tragic. I think anyone who's hit on a student or was in a relationship with their student is at the bottom. Hetson is right above that. Then Garraby and then Feeney. Feeney's number one, obviously. But thank you so much, Todd, for sending in a voicemail. And obviously Q is too early in the alphabet. We all know that, though. Okay, then I'm going to also play a voicemail from DBK.
What up, though, ladies? Hello, Lindy.
All right, we got hot objects. Ben's got to bring his keys into acting class and talks about how his dad sucks and he's finally away. We got Felicity knowing who wrote her high school textbook and is in his class and has to write an essay about how okay they are. We get Megan being awesome. Is Ben invisible to you? Is like such a good line. So funny. And then we get Julie telling Felicity off. And we get the famous playing of Felicity's tape. What it would like to be with a man sexually. If you're laughing at me right now, I don't blame you. Tammy, I'm excited to hear some of your voicemails because I'll actually maybe be able to put some of the clues together this time. I am a pretty big Carrie Russell fan. I don't know if I can succeed that to you. But we'll see. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and we get our first appearance of Elena this episode, who I think will be Jess's favorite character. Ooh. The show is done. She's in like the background of like the Garibaldi scenes. I think she's in the front row of class, and then she's behind her in another class shot before we see her at the party. And yeah. I think that's all I have from this week. Oh yeah, Megan like never sleeps in her room at night. So what do we think Megan's doing at night? Anyways, till next week, ladies. Peace.
Okay, so what do we think Megan is doing at night?
I definitely think that she's doing like the underground, like maybe punk rock and roll scene. I can see her partying at night. Yeah.
She's staying at like a cooler, older friend's apartment, probably. Like she is above dorm life for sure.
I agree with that. Maybe her parents like forced her to be in a dorm, and she's like, "Fine, but I'm not gonna stay there, bitches." You know. Also, to find out Elena is probably gonna be my favorite character, I'm like very, very excited about that.
Yeah. Who's my favorite character? DBK. Nobody.
It's not always about you, Sarah. I think it's Noel because you're constantly trying to give him points. I think you're going to have more sympathy for Noel than I do. Because right now, I find him so annoying. I'm just like, stop being a freaking letting everybody just walk all over you. Have a backbone, Noel. Come on. You know? But I'm excited to see more of Elena. And I think DBK mentioned that we see her like in class with Felicity. So that's interesting that maybe she'll have like a similar major or something like that. That would be interesting. So I don't know. I'm excited for that though. Oh, and also DBK sent us a message and said that eventually we will find out Felicity's sign, or at the very least we'll know the month of her birthday. So we might be able to figure out what she is from that.
We'll see.
Love a little sneaky peek. I'm excited about that. And that's all the feedback I think we got. So thank you everyone who sent in feedback. If you want to send in feedback, you could email us shit90spod@gmail.com. You can send in voicemails like the ones you heard at shit90spod.com. Tweet at us. Hit us up on Instagram, shit90spod on both of those. We love getting feedback and we love hearing from you all. So I love a little teaser. I love a little like, we think you're going to like this character. If I don't, that's going to be tragic. But I feel like DBK's listened to enough stuff of us by now to know who I would like. So I trust his opinions.
Yeah, I also think that DBK was a community listener as well. So
yeah, so he knows my love for Annie.
Yeah, he knows your brand of character of what you like.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Lindy. We love chatting with you, and it doesn't happen enough, but we're going to obviously have you back for another season of this show. And it'll be fun because when we get to season 2 and you come on, you probably won't have seen anything beyond that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. I loved being here today talking about hot objects and, you know, Felicity's shenanigans. This was so fun, making fun of everyone. So thank you so much for having me.
And next episode, Sarah, do you want to know the title?
Yeah, what's the title?
Boggled.
Yes.
Is Felicity going to play Boggle by herself in her dorm room?
I think that's what it is.
That's exactly what it is.
44 minutes of just that. Yeah.
Lindy, where can people find you? Tell them about One Indescribable Podcast and how incredible it is.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, every week I am on One Indescribable Podcast. I host that along with Adam H. and Todd the Librarian. And currently we are talking about Girls 5 Eva. We're going through every episode of that show. And previously we've also done Crazy Ex-Girlfriends and Zoe's Extraordinary Playlist. And we'll do something else after Girls 5 Eva. So definitely come check that out if you're interested.
Awesome. Sarah, where can people find you? What do you want to plug? Do you want to plug some stuff? Your face looks like you don't want to plug anything.
I'm here. I'm there. I'm mostly here. I'm not really there.
Okay. Sounds great. You can find me at the Just Sterling. I'm over at Post Show Recaps, covering full spoiler recaps where we watch a new season of a new show every week. This week we're covering Colin from Accounts, which is an Australian sitcom that did get renewed for a second season, but it just came out for us. I think.
Wait,
on
what was that
Paramount
show?
Plus. Colin from Accounts. It's very cute. It's like a rom-com where this couple meets when she like does something that distracts him from driving and he accidentally hits a dog. It's okay. The dog is okay, but it like brings them together in a specific way. And the dog is very, very cute. And they name him Colin from Accounts. And that's
What streaming show?
I
What streaming?
believe it's
Did you make
Paramount
this show
Plus.
up?
I didn't make the show up.
I've never heard of this show before.
Okay, it said I will read you the little synopsis. Set in Sydney, Australia.
Is it just on Hulu?
No, I told
Okay.
you it's not.
It's from
It's
what?
on Paramount Plus.
Oh, Paramount Plus.
In the US at least. Yeah. But it's really cute and it's like it has some like a little bit of like dark comedy, but these characters are very flawed and I think they're really interesting and the creators are also the main actors on the show, which I tend to like as well because I feel like they know how to write characters for themselves, if that makes sense.
Who are you covering this with?
Grace.
Oh,
My
very
friend
nice.
Grace. So
A whole series, or is this part of the?
it's part of full spoiler recaps. So we're
Oh.
covering one season
Can
of
you
it.
tell that I totally did not pay attention to anything that you
Yes,
said in the
I
first
certainly
part of
can
this
because I've said the same things twice now. So yeah, go check that out. You can find me at the Just Sterling, and you can find us at Shit90s Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Like we said, we're gonna have some holiday content coming out in December. I actually think our first thing is coming out very soon. Sarah, do you want to reveal to the audience what we're covering for December 1st?
We are watching the 1990, I think it's a 1999 movie, Jack Frost, with our friend Cody.
Yeah, it's like one of those movies that I remember the basic premise, and I have a feeling I remember it's like kind of sad, but I have a feeling it's gonna just make me laugh instead this time because it's such a ridiculous premise.
So the problem is that we've seen and covered the majority of the good Christmas movies, so now we get into the shit Christmas movies.
It's gonna be fun.
But that means that maybe we can make fun of them. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's what we've got going on. We're gonna have another Christmas thing later in the month as well. But yeah, come back next week for us to cover season 1, episode 4 of Felicity. Thank you again, Lindy, for joining us this time, and we will talk to you all next time. Bye.
Just ask. Shit 90 shows taught me.
Shit 90 Shows Taught Me was not filmed before a live studio audience.